about the weekend ahead and think how we can hold the challenges of life as well as the more blessed parts of life. And today we're going to talk about is one of the primary questions. And so much of spirituality comes down to how are you going to handle your pain? And I like that premise because life will have painful experiences in it. And some of those painful experiences, I certainly, as a pastor, walking with people through that, have felt are not really redemptive. They're so horrendous that they're hard to put our arms around, our hands around, our brain around, our heart around. We're hard to get any kind of understanding of it. And I've been very leery of like saying, well, there's great lessons in here, because sometimes I think pain is so bad that there isn't. But the vast majority of the time, the painful experiences in life are something that we can learn from, are something we can grow from. And it brings to mind this question, which is, what is the pain in your life? How far has it gotten you? What are the pains in your life that have gotten you this far? And for most of us, that's a really good question to ask, because the painful experiences do pull us along on life's journey. And that's what I want to read for you, a short little passage here, and then have a little conversation around it. And the passage is a simple one. Again, this is about the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, story of Lot and his family getting rescued out of Sodom and Gomorrah as the city's about to be destroyed. And if you think of the city as about to be destroyed, you think of certain ways we see the world, certain ways we were sure that the world worked, parts of our life that were really just not good, not great parts of our life that we can't move forward with. But we somehow rationalize them, etc. Well, those are the parts that have to go, and that's a painful experience. And this is from the book Secrets of Heaven 2334, where it talks about these trials and these events that are so difficult in our life. And I think we could look at it both as, there's this mental stuff that has to go, but it's also just the trials of life, just the simple losses that all of us face. It's talking about when the crisis happens. All inward trial contains doubt over the Lord's presence and mercy, over salvation, and so on. People undergoing such trials feel deep distress, even to the point of despair. When their crisis passes, it leaves behind many impressions of truth and goodness. So it's a beautiful line there. And what that's about, friends, that I find so incredibly powerful is that it's this idea that we go through these trials. It's part of life, and it's not that God inflicts those on us. Super important from a Christian church perspective. God tests no one. It's life. Life is imperfect. Life will have tests. We're imperfect. We will have tests. That's the way life goes. God is there to hold it with love, the whole thing. And so we go through these tests and these trials, and we come out the other end, and it leaves this impression of goodness and truth. And I love that idea, sort of like a footprint in the sand. It's just this thing that we get this impression of. And you think about the pains that have gotten you this point in time in your life. I think of painful experiences. Just the one I was thinking off the top of my head this morning was just, I did not have a great 8th, 9th, 10th grade experience in life. It was a pretty rough time, felt pretty challenged, felt pretty much on the outs, felt bullied, felt this, felt that. It's a story I tell a lot, which is that I'd gotten to a point where I for 3 years in public school, I'd never used the restroom. I'd never used my locker. Just so terrified of anything where I could run into any kind of altercation with anyone. So I tried to never answer a question in class. I tried to be as quiet and sort of off to the side as I could possibly be. And then when I came to junior year, I transferred schools, came down here to a school in Philadelphia from Pittsburgh, a boarding school called the Academy of the New Church. And I changed my name. I told everyone that my name was no longer Charlie. I went by Chuck. That's why Western Pennsylvania, if any of my Western Pennsylvania friends are watching, you'll see Charlie. You'll probably call me Charlie. But anybody out here in the eastern part of the state will call me Chuck. And I think about that, friends, and I feel like, that painful experience, and it was very painful. It was not a lot of fun. It in God's mercy, it was helping me to do something different, helping me to grow in a way that I never would have volunteered for, and I still wouldn't volunteer for it, and I still would never want anybody to go through it. My stepsons are teenagers. I wouldn't want them to go through it. But all that being said, God did take this thing and move it forward, and it is that painful experience in 8th, 9th, and 10th grade did move me forward in life. It was a trial, it was a pain, it was a form of suffering that moved me forward. Now, could I have made very different choices out of that? Absolutely. And that's I think gets back to the idea that so much of spirituality is what we do with our pain. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to hold it? Are you going to allow it to become part of your life story and move things forward? And it's certainly not like the real glib kind of like, it's not a big deal. Nothing's a big, no, people really do have struggles. There really are trials in life. Life sometimes is incredibly unfair. And at the same time, there's a loving God that holds the whole thing. And there's a loving God that's constantly going to be moving us towards an eternity that we call heaven. I mean, that's the whole thing of divine providence. There's this current. And we may be in a time where we're flailing around, where the waters feel too rough, where there's just a lot of white water, a lot of chop. But that doesn't mean the current isn't flowing. The current is still flowing. And that's so much the bedrock trust that we get later on. And so what does that mean when we even look back on it? Well, I can look back on it and think, oh, I learned a lot through that. And then I can also, and this is one of the beautiful parts, I also can talk to people, young adults who are going through that. Maybe they go through it in high school, maybe in college, maybe when they get out in the work world. And just to be able to remind them, it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. Keep learning, keep moving. It'll be fine. And and that's kind of the beauty of divine providence. So I hope that makes sense, dear friends. And what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. When we shift gears here at New Church Live, what we do is we do a little meditation, a little prayer, and a little blessing. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath and listen to the prayer bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's see if anybody has left comments here. And again, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Tonight, my son and I are going to go do something incredibly fun. So I hope you have something fun planned as well. Gabriella, great to see you joining us. I hope you're doing well. Linda, great to see you joining us. I hope you have a great weekend too, my friend. And now let's flip over onto here. Takes a little nanosecond here to get flip pages. Alrighty, dighty. There we go. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. So, friends, I'm wishing you all the very best. God bless. Have a great, amazing weekend. And just keep it. Find yourself in a painful place. Just keep moving.